Welcome back. You're tuned into Mid Morning Talk with me, your host Mariam Mia, only on Salam Media. And now we are turning our attention to NPO segment, but a NPO segment a little different because we have many NPOs that are not pleased with the government's intention to donate. Well, it's Department of International Relations to donate 50 million to Cuba to uh, as poverty relief for their uh, programs there in that country. So since a coalition of hunger relief organizations launched a petition on the 7th of February to protest against donation of 50 million by the Department of International Relationship towards fighting hunger in Cuba, close to 15,000 people have joined the campaign. What started as a group of 60 plus organizations standing together to object against the travesty and irony of millions of rain exiting our country while more of our own people suffer the injustices of hunger every day has grown into a campaign that has captured the hearts and minds of thousands of South Africans. This collaborative initiative by individuals and organizations who are faced with every day with the ravages of hunger in communities across our beautiful country has attracted the widespread media interest with coverage on almost every major news national platform. So what is happening next is on the 25th of February, that's Thursday, at 10 a.m., the coalition of 60 organizations representing 15,000 plus signatories of the petition and thousands more hungry people will be delivering it to Durko in Shwani. They have advised Durko of the intentions and Durko have acknowledged the receipt of the notice to deliver the petition. So if this is the first time that you're hearing of this and Durko's intention of gifting 50 million towards eliminating hunger and poverty in Cuba, how are you feeling? Are you pleased with that? Are you angry? Or is the government, are you going to say that the government should match that amount to eliminate the hunger and the struggles faced by millions South Africans every day, because that is their reality. So joining us is one of the signatories or one of the organizers of the campaign, and this is from Food Nosh Rescue is Hanneke van der Linde. So let me welcome her to the program. Good afternoon and welcome to Mid Morning Talk here on Salam Media.
Hi, Mariam. How are you?
Thanks so much. So um, I came across this petition last week, and I was full as somebody who advocates human rights, who are there whenever there's poverty relief programs, whether it's feeding schemes in school, it's soup kitchens, we're always there. So I know the struggles of trying to get funds together. You are asking Peter and Paul, and you're phoning everybody. You hear the excuses why people can't give you. So I know the reality of, I understand, and I am part of that reality of MPOs collecting our rands and cents together to get a loaf of bread to a school to support a feeding program, or to get pennies together to buy groceries for a month to feed a family. So the hunger is very real. And South Africa has this, and very, very few times do I actually have a Department of Social Services or district official in those departments saying, yeah, government is going to campaign with you, and we're going to partner with you, and we will provide for this campaign X, Y, and Z of essential items. Uh, I haven't come across it. It's very rare that that happens. So maybe you can tell me if that happens. So I was very, very upset when I heard 50 million is allocated to Cuba. So tell us a little bit of how did you find this out, and what is the intention behind this gift of 50 million to Cuba?
Mariam, I think we all found out about it on social media. When we actually sort of saw those articles, we looked at each other saying, what is actually going on here? You know, that the need in South Africa itself is so dire. Why are we sending money abroad? And, you know, every rand can go quite far here. So yeah, we got together, and Chefs of Compassion was sort of the driving force behind mobilizing a lot of our beneficiaries and saying who would like to add their voice to this campaign. And that's really where it started. And in the last 2 weeks, it really captured the imagination of a lot of people. I think a lot of people really see the dire need on the ground. Like you say, you're part of those communities that are trying to help in their own sort of surrounds, and it's really captured the imagination. Why are we sending money abroad when it looks like we cannot even manage to feed more than 50% of our own population? The statistics show that about 52% of our South African population is facing starvation at the moment. So why are we sending money abroad? We don't deny that there is need in Cuba, absolutely not. But that is not our mandate here in South Africa. That's really where we're at.
So, I must say, I did in my introduction, I did mention we were due to speak to DIRCO spokesperson, that's Clayton Maniatella. However, the 11th hour, just before the interview, we received a statement from or message from DIRCO saying that they no longer wish to come and discuss this on air because they will be putting out a media statement. But I haven't been given a time frame. So just to let all our listeners know, as well as all the viewers, that we had reached out to DIRCO to get their perspective in terms of what informed the decision to send money abroad and to gift Cuba this 50 million. So, do you perhaps, from your coalition, do you perhaps have an understanding why particular Cuba was earmarked? I mean, there are many countries world over that face hunger. Hunger is the everyday reality. So I was just wondering, I don't know, why not Sudan? Why not Chad? Why not DRC or Southern Africa? We are part of SADC. Why not Southern Africa, including South Africa? Why specifically Cuba? What was the decision that informed DIRCO to then send this money specifically to Cuba?
Yeah. So DIRCO is obviously international relations, and Cuba
Mhm.
and South Africa have historically had very good relations. And Cuba was very supportive in the apartheid years of South Africa. So, DIRCO is not responsible necessarily. Their mandate is not to fix hunger in South Africa. Their mandate is in exactly that, international relations. So that's not in a way what we're arguing, but we're saying, why is there nothing overriding those relations that we can actually look closer to home and fix the problems at home? We're not denying that there is food security in Cuba. Or in any other country for that matter, but let's clean up at home first. When our problems are significantly more dire, we understand that Cuba is under a lot of pressure currently, but that is not our mandate as food security and food relief organizations in South Africa. We need meaningful dialogue around fixing hunger and food sort of insecurity and malnutrition and stunting and poverty. We need that more direly at home, in our opinion. So I don't think there's much that we can do about this particular decision. I think the wheels have turned quite far already, but I feel that this is really an opportunity to engage with the powers that be, with meaningful dialogue, people that are on the ground, that have expertise, that have really been rising to the occasion in the last 2 years to actually feed and serve where our government and our Department of Social Development are falling short at the moment.
So, I'm just trying to understand the various stakeholders in different ministries in South Africa. Don't they work in unison in terms of this? Because I mean, if there was many times when we hear, even if you look at besides food, if you look at healthcare and social welfare, if you look at the state of our hospitals, I mean, we see the potholes on the roads as we commute daily. Um, we hear it's a budgetary constraint, and I'm sure NPOs also get this when you ask social development for assistance. It's budgets. So where did this 50 million come? Because I mean, if we have this 50 million here, that's gifted to Cuba, then there was 50 million in the coffers that could then have a springboard effect in terms of having healthy South Africans that we can then get into our economy. So I'm just has NPOs everywhere. where did this budget come? Was this earmarked maybe in last year's budget or maybe the previous year's budget that wasn't used? So maybe these funds were earmarked somewhere, and it just that this process has taken longer. So I'm just trying to understand where this 50 million came in. Was this budgeted for in some year's budget?
I imagine that each government department would have its own budget to drive its own project. So you mentioned potholes. I don't think necessarily the pothole budget would be able to be applied to hunger, for example, or vice versa. The IT or schooling department, their budget might not be able to be ring fenced for potholes. So, I think the money is sitting there and it has been allocated for those types of international relations activities. Which is why I say I very sincerely doubt that we'd be able to derail that process right now. But it's more a case of really prioritizing perhaps where those budgets are allocated going forward. And let's have that meaningful dialogue to inform where budgets should be allocated.
So, how involved are NPOs in terms of being in this process when budgets are allocated for social development, social upliftment programs, community upliftment? Is there a coalition of NPOs that maybe a member of certain organizations sit together and have dialogues with government structures in terms of what we need to do in terms of social upliftment and outreach programs?
To be honest, I don't know whether such an overarching organization exists. Obviously, social development is the framework for nonprofit organizations, and I'm sure that they would inform government. They are government around these kind of issues. Whether there is a private or a civic organization that bands nonprofits together, I'm not sure. CIPC obviously has the non-profit companies, the old Section 21 companies, under their auspices. So I think there's definitely a call to be made for getting those sort of departments and those organizations together on a more collaborative kind of platform. Not everybody falls under Department of Social Development. And I think that is part of why there's such a shortfall. Even before COVID, over 13 million South Africans were going hungry. So Department of Social Development, with whatever resources they have, was not managing to plug the gap. So somewhere along the line, we need to align social development and CIPC and the private and civic sector to see how we can pull together. I don't think, throwing everything, all the eggs in one basket is going to be a useful thing. But I think there needs to be more inclusive dialogue, including all of those partners in the nonprofit sector.
Absolutely, more synergy is definitely required, and then we don't need to reinvent the wheel and also duplicate resources and services, because that will be one way of ensuring there's no duplication, and hence which equates to wasteful use of resources. So tell us a little bit more about on the 24th. That was the latest email sent to me in terms of feedback from the petition that I just read out there, that I received that email last night saying that the coalition will be handing in a memorandum or the petition itself to DIRCO officers in Chwani on the 24th. So are you then going to go over? Do you expect just to hand in the petition, or have they acknowledged that maybe some sort of explanation or dialogue, or maybe that's when the media statement will be then published?
They have acknowledged our communication, and they've referred it up to the relevant senior managers within DIRCO. So they are in communication with us as a coalition. We have stated the intent that we will be there at 10 on Thursday. We don't know how big that group is going to be, whether members of the public are feeling fired up enough that they want to join us, or if it's going to be our member organizations. We don't know exactly what that's going to look like. We will wait for communication from them, but we're definitely going to be there. Change.org, which is the petition platform we've used, have actually come on board. They've really gotten fired up with this, and they are really putting their weight behind marketing and spreading this petition far and wide. So I have no doubt we're going to be significantly bigger than just 15,000 voices. So We are going to be there. They are in communication with us, and thanks for that. But we'll have to see exactly physically what that looks like on Friday. I mean,
Okay, so I
Thursday. My
just
apologies,
mhm.
Thursday.
We've put up my engineers put up the petition link there. Change.org, feed SA first. So please, there's still time to lend your voice, your signature. If you feel strongly about this, then we need our various government structures to listen to the needs of South Africans first, to contribute a lot more, allocate a lot more budgets in terms of eliminating hunger, providing have good nutritional programs in place, supporting the sterling work that NPOs, NGOs, and PBOs do and provide support there, and also have dialogue. So I think for me, even if that process goes forward where the money is then sent off to Cuba to assist with their poverty relief programs, for me, it's the awareness it's created. It's created for me. The plus is the huge awareness, and subsequently what comes out of it in terms of the synergy, the dialogue, and just government structures becoming more conscientized and aware before they allocate such budgets to various programs. Just have a look back home. How can we better support the citizens of South Africa? Is that your for you? Will that be a victory if that happens?
Absolutely. I think it's a long term process, but we need to start looking at short term solutions and medium term solutions. So, like you say, let's not reinvent the wheel, but there's a lot to be done around fixing, at least stopgaps in the short term. And, fixing legislation and fixing infrastructure is bigger picture, long term stuff, but they are in the short term things that can be done. And I think this is a very meaningful step for this coalition to have taken to actually start driving meaningful dialogue on a bigger scale, including all the, like I said, public, civic, private, MPC, NPO, PBOs, government. Let's all get around a set of tables and let's have these conversations.
So, are you able to be there personally on Thursday? Are you going to be one of the members that will be there? So maybe we'll ask you if we could just do a link up there, maybe at 10 to 10 before news and views, just to just give us an idea of the, as you say, currently it's unknown who's going to be there, what's going to happen in that. But as Salam Media, we are online humanitarian platform. This is basically what we do here, is provide a platform for humanitarian organization advocates in highlighting these humanitarian challenges that we face. So we'd like to really just, if we could link up with you, do a live link up if you've got a good reception, otherwise telephonically, and you can just brief us on the atmosphere, what's there, and what's happening, who's ready to receive this petition. And really, I'm hopeful that whatever come may be, this is a success in terms of creating awareness of what is happening in South Africa. And I'd like to salute yourself as well as all the members of this coalition for the acknowledge the sterling work you do in terms of giving up of your time and resources in our fight against hunger and poverty. Because really, in the year 2020, with the abundance of food, because we don't have a shortage of food in South Africa, it's an affordability and a resource allocation issue. It's not food scarcity. So yes, surely there are ways that we can ensure that everybody goes to bed with something in their tummies, because yes, abundance we have of food. So there's no and I see you nodding your head, because and if I think of what goes in the bin, the thousands every day that just gets tossed away, really it saddens me that, you know what, we've become, for those that do have, we have become over consumers of food, to the point where it just become gluttonous. So we need to also rethink of how we consume, and maybe what we can share in terms of this, and support organizations like yourself.
That's something I'd like to chat to you maybe at a later stage, what organizations like Nash Food Rescue, Chefs with Compassion, Food Forward, SA Harvest are doing to access food waste. 10.6 million tons of produce does not get consumed by human or animals in South Africa per annum, more than enough to feed everybody. So I'd love to perhaps take this opportunity at some stage to chat with you a little bit more about that, and to also inform your listeners about the sort of, the state of food waste and food surplus in South Africa. Maybe in a follow-up interview would be nice.
You can hear the excitement. It's tangible from my face, from my voice, because this is my passion and this what drives me. So definitely, Salilo is listening in the background, my producer. And Salilo, please, in the upcoming weeks, I'd like Food Nosh Rescue and Hanneke to get back here to tell us about, make us aware the Stoke reality of what gets wasted and what can we do to change this narrative. And yes, our waste is somebody's meal. So if we can then just change the way, and I'll change a bit of our behavioral habits, everybody can go with at least a meal a day so they don't have to experience the pangs of hunger. So looking forward to that interview and looking forward to educating us on that aspect. And all the best for Thursday. Hopefully we can connect with you around about 10 to 10. I've got my other news and views producer, Nazreen, which I'm going to inform that she needs to earmark this in her diary. So if you can just spare us about 10 minutes to tell us about this and connect us with. But looking forward to chatting to you in the future. And thank you for being an advocate for all of South Africans, especially the marginalized communities whose voices are often so hidden right under the soils of the country. So thank you for bringing those grassroots issues to the floor. May you be under the mercy and the protection of the Almighty.
Thanks, Mariam.
And with that, it's time for us to wish you peace and blessings for the rest of the day, and may you all be under the mercy and protection of the Almighty. And yes, let's be a thought of those who have to rummage through the rubble and the bins to become scavengers for a meal, and to eliminate the hunger. So let's think about how we consume and also how can we be part of the solution. So each one feed one, inshallah, and really giving alms and giving sadaqah is our amulet against all evil and all negative, and also gaining the mercy and the protection of the Almighty is by feeding one. So benefits, all round benefits. So let's keep that in mind and let's make that our motto. And looking forward to learning about food waste and how can we then use that as meals for those that find themselves in difficult situations. Until next week, may you be under the mercy and the blessings of the Almighty. Peace and blessings. My love and duas to all.